How's it? Today is Monday, August 12th, and in 6 weeks, I'm gonna try to PR. I said that same thing 2 weeks ago, and then I caught COVID. So that really put a wrench in the whole plan. Last week, I used as a week to kind of just return back to movement. And this week, I am back on, I guess, week one, but this is technically week three of an 8 week type of thing, culminating in an attempt for a PR. I'm trying to just snatch 115 by the end of, I guess, September. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I thought 2 weeks ago, if everything goes perfectly, then I would have a small chance of doing it. And it went pretty far from perfect. I had 1 day of training that week, and then I took the next 7 days off, 6 days off, next 6 days off, and here we are now. And everything doesn't feel the way that I imagined it would. My shoulder is really bothering me, and yeah, it's really not a great feeling. I think as far as everything goes today, my lifts were okay. My snatches were just not satisfactory. I mean, I didn't miss any lifts today. Here's my top set of my snatch, push, press, plus overhead squat at 95. This is still pretty easy. I do feel like my right shoulder is inhibited quite a bit, just trying to get that over the bar over my head. But yeah, it is what it is. I felt like my snatches themselves, it felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And like I feel like I say that a lot, but the last few weeks that I was actually lifting, it felt like I was getting somewhere, like positively moving in the right direction. But today it felt like I took a lot of steps back, and I felt like I was just very inconsistent, which typically my thing is that I am pretty consistent. I feel like when I am doing something poorly, I do that same thing poorly over and over and over again. But today it felt like I was just doing lots of things differently, and I was very, very, very frustrated. At some point in the lifting at 85 for doubles, which was the same weight that I did 2 weeks ago, at some point I felt like I was going to just stop caring about how the lift looked and just lift. That's kind of what I did on, I think, the fourth set. And, it didn't turn out poorly. I mean, it looked pretty much the same quality of lift, I guess. And I'm not too bent out of shape out of that. I feel like I just let my frustrations get to me. I felt like when I was picking up the bar, it felt like there was almost like a shearing force in my lumbar, my spine. I guess that's what it felt. I felt like a little bit of tension and a little bit of shearing. So tension is when you say there's 2 points, right? A and B, and then there's something connecting the A and B. Here's my first set, by the way, at 85. So it feels like so tension, yeah. A and B, and then there's like a little piece that connects A and B, and then A and B get separated. They get moved further away from their starting position, and that little thingy between A and B undergoes tension. Shearing is when you say A and B are kind of there's like a plane where they move. I'm motioning with my hands. I don't know how to explain it. Say A and B are two like flat planes that are attached to each other, and they move parallel to each other, if that makes sense. So like I'm putting my hands together and I'm imagining like if my left hand moves up or my right hand moves down, that in itself is like shearing. Oh, that's kind of what it felt like in my lower back. I don't know if that's because I didn't warm up properly, or if that is something that is, I don't want to say it's like a remnant of COVID, because I mean I didn't feel any of that last week, so it's probably not related to that. It was there for most of my snatches, and maybe that's another thing that I was kind of struggling with, but it didn't inhibit me to the point where I couldn't make the lifts. I mean, 85 is not very heavy, so yeah. I think as far as pulls go, I went to 95, and at that point in the lifting, I was just kind of like just going through the motions. It's very frustrated with myself today. So it's there are days that come like this. I remember a long time ago when I was first starting lifting weights, and this was like before I was even doing like clean and jerk, and so when I first started lifting weights, all I did was like strength training, like basic strength training stuff, things like squat, bench, deadlift, and excuse me, and I didn't know how to power clean, I didn't know how to jerk, and definitely did not know how to snatch. But I remember one day I went to the gym, and then I came home from the gym, and I was just kind of talking to my dad, and then I was like, "Yeah, dude, today sucked." And he just looked at me, and he was just like, "Yeah, like some days are just gonna suck. Like you could have prepared the best in the entire world. You could have eaten properly. You could have been the most optimal sleepers you ever were. You could have stretched. You could have done literally every single thing correctly, and the day still might not turn out the way that you expect it to." And like that's not how today went, because I definitely did not eat properly last night. I definitely did not sleep the best. I definitely didn't warm up the best. But all that to say that sometimes things happen and they have no real explanation as to why it happened. Um, and for me, like to keep my sanity, that is something I'm gonna have to rely on today, because like I didn't miss any of my lifts, but it just felt like it sucked. Yeah. And with that like 6 week timeline placed in there, it's like, ah, shit, like is that going to put more pressure on me in the coming weeks? And it will, 100% will. Usually when I'm under a little bit more pressure to lift well, I usually lift well. I don't know if that's going to be the case this time, but I'm still excited to see what's going to happen. I mentioned it on Saturday that I'm excited about how the next couple weeks is going to turn out, but yeah, it's going to be fun at the very least. Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Shoots.